Well, by the items that are sitting here on my workbench, can you tell what I'm up to today? That's right, we're going to be changing over from a lead-acid battery system in our fifth wheel to a lithium battery system. This is not a solar install, just a replacement of the lead-acid battery. That requires a lithium battery. I'm using a Smart Shunt so that I can manage the battery, but I also have to change over the charger converter to a charger that is built and designed to charge a lithium battery. This is the WFCO 9800. As you can see here, I'll get a little closer. The AD stands for auto detect, and what it will do is it will configure itself to charge either a lead acid or a lithium battery, depending on what it senses from the battery itself. So my first job today is to locate where the converter charger is in my fifth wheel and replace it with this unit. Now I'll show you why that becomes a little difficult. I store my trailer on the side of my house, and there's not a lot of room. As you can see here, I'm right up against the fence, and then on this side I'm right up against the fascia of the house. So I've got my cover rolled up and out of the way so I can access everything, and I've been told that the converter charger should be, get around everything here, right behind this cabinet right here, which is where the fuse panel is. So I've got to get up in there, take that door off so I have good access, pull the panel loose, and see if that charger converter is really where they say it is. So bear with me, I'll bring you back as soon as I find it, and we'll go from there. Okay, the first thing you want to do before you start messing around with your breaker panel and removing it is to make sure all power is removed from the trailer. So I'm going to disconnect the lead acid battery, and I'm making sure that I'm not plugged in, which I'm not. I can see my cables laying on the ground over there. So let me get this battery disconnected, and then we'll go back inside and see what's going on. Okay, the door of the fuse box is just held on with 4 machine screws. I've taken that off and set that aside. Once again, the trailer is disconnected from all power. Nothing is connected. Battery is disconnected, it's not plugged in. So now it looks like I've got 4 bolts I have to take out to be able to pull this out and get at the charger converter. So let me do that, and I'll show you what I find. Well, I was afraid of that. It is not right behind this panel. I don't know where it is. So I'm going to have to take out that little knee wall inside the storage area and look and see if I can find out where it is. When I find it, I'll bring you back. Okay, well, I found it. It's back inside the basement behind one of the little walls. But I also found something over here that's a little interesting. And that is that guy right there. That heating duct. I bet you that's not supposed to be laying right there. I'm thinking it goes up to that hole up there and supposed to feed that duct. Would be my bet. It just laying down there doesn't quite seem right. So unless it's to heat this whole area where the water heater is and the pump, I don't know. I'll have to do a little investigation. But anyway, the converter's right there. Let me just light a little bit. I know the lighting's bad down here, guys. Sorry. That's the guy we're going to change right there. So let me get that loose. Probably just 2 screws holding it in, and we'll get the new one configured and in its place and go from there. Be right back. Well, I found the inverter charger, and it's always something. They use a little cheap bolt right here that I'm pointing at to hold this ground fixture in place, and it is stripped. The head is stripped. So when they put this thing in, they must have just tightened that crap out of it. Anyway, now I've got to figure out how to get it loose, and I'm probably going to have to take a grinder or with a cutting wheel and cut that nut off, which is not what I want to do, making a bunch of sparks down here. But so far that's all I can come up with. I'll bring you back when I figured out what I'm going to do. Okay, there's the old one. I finally got that screw to come loose. I had to cut it off with a small hacksaw. and use some vice grips to bust it loose, but it's finally loose. See, this little thing is connected to this ground wire, and I really don't want to break that. So I can use this piece again. It's the same brand as the one I'm using now. I'll just put it on the new one. But I think while I'm back here, I'm going to clean up a little bit. There's a lot of junk down here, so I think I'm going to take the vacuum and clean some of this up. Still got to figure out where that ductwork goes. I think it goes up there, but I'm not positive. I'll probably take a couple pictures and post it, see if anybody has any ideas. I think it's setting loose in here. I mean, it might be just to keep everything warm. I don't know, but I think I'll ask, because that ductwork goes up and here, and there's vents in here to keep this bay warm. So I'm assuming, no, that's probably what that is. Okay, well, I don't know, but I'll post some pictures and ask before I button all this back up again. Anyway, I'm gonna get the vacuum and get this cleaned up, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes. Okay, I got the new one kind of setting in place. I'm going to do my best here in a minute. I've got to fish this cable back up through that mess, and the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to attach it to this stick and kind of feed its way up in there, and hopefully I can get it close to where it needs to go, that I could reach in from the other side and grab it. Let's see, I like to go underneath the plumbing, not around it. So I'm going to shoot that up in there like that, and then we'll go inside and see if I can see it. Well, there it is. There's my little stick right there. So I can go ahead and set that new converter charger in place, put the wiring back on it, and get it ready to go. So this wouldn't have been bad at all, except for that one screw that wouldn't come loose. And looking at the new one, it looks like they have something on it to keep it from coming loose, which is a good thing, but not when you're trying to change it out for a new one. Okay, let's get this converter where it needs to go. That's better. Okay, so I've got the ground hooked back up, positive, negative, which is how it was wired in the other one. All I've got to do now is push it back into position, put a few screws in it, and we're good to go. Well, at least on this side anyway. Well, you can see there's my stick with my plug tied to it. I'm going to reach in there and grab it, plug it in, and we'll be ready to screw that thing in position. I don't have good light in here, so I'm sorry about this. There it is. I just got to cut the tape off and hook it up. Okay, there it is, all plugged in. You can see that right. So I point at it. Kind of hard to do with one hand, right there. On this side, it's ready to go. I still have to button everything up, but I'll wait till everything's up and running to do that. I want to make sure everything's tight. I'll check everything while I've got this open. Okay, well there it is, all screwed in place. Ready for the other end of this, which is the battery, and then we'll give it all a test and see what happens. Now we've got to get the lead acid out, put the Battle Born in, the Smart Shunt, and fire it up, see what happens. Sorry about the fan noise in the back, but it's hot out here. So I've removed the old battery, removed the old battery case because that's no longer needed. The vent tube that went up to here has been removed. No need for that anymore. That's one of the beauties of a lithium battery, is that there's no fumes. So now it's time to install the shunt. So I'm thinking I'm going to put it right back here. Get the camera in the right angle here. Right back here. We'll see how that goes. I kind of like that position. It keeps the rest of the bay free. So we'll see if we can get that installed, and I'll bring you back when I've got it connected. Smart Shunt is in place right here. This new cable goes to the battery. The system's cable that used to go to the battery now goes here. The positive from the trailer will go to the battery. This will go to the battery, and then this little red cable is the cable that connects the Smart Shunt to the battery and will allow me to use my phone to monitor the status of the battery. So let's get the battery in here and get it bolted up. Okay, battery is connected. The Smart Shunt is connected. I don't know where my light went. I had a light. Hang on a minute, let me go get my light. Okay, a pretty little Battle Born battery is sitting there, my 100 amp hour. My shunt is back there in the back, all connected up, and everything looks good. I got to tidy up a few wires. I've got, here you can see this. The Smart Shunt comes with software. It runs on your phone. You can see the battery's charged at 100%, 13.5 volts, current draw, power and wattage, consumed amp hours. It's really cool, so I can check this with my phone. That was the whole purpose of the Smart Shunt. So I've got that pretty much done, and you can tell I was always planning to do this because I built this shelf up here to keep things on so that I'd have this open, because eventually there'll probably be 2 batteries sitting here. But for right now, just the one. And we've got a trip coming up at the end of the month to Yellowstone, so I wanted to have a little more battery power than I had. Anyway, time to button it all up. Well, we've got the new battery installed. I'll take you out here and show you the trailer is all covered back up. Everything's locked up. Excuse the traffic noise. We live next to an airport, so you can probably hear an airplane going by. Run some tests on it. Everything's really good. Like I told you before, I'm kind of in a tight spot right here, so I can work on the trailer on one side of it, but not the other. But anyway, I did reconnect that vent that I showed you that was just hanging, that ducting that was just hanging down. It did go up. It's supposed to go up to that vent above it. It was just taped in place, which was terrible. But I went ahead and put it back up, put the tape back up, and I put some sheet metal screws in it, so that's ready to go. So the battery is holding. I'm watching it with my phone. I left the power to the trailer on, the red switch on, so we can kind of see how much power that the trailer is consuming just sitting here. And right now it looks like about a half a watt is what it's, or about a half amp it's drawing. So we'll see how long the battery holds up before I have to plug it back in and charge it back up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project. Maybe it'll be helpful to you. You know, things aren't always where they're supposed to be on these trailers, and that was a fun little treasure hunt trying to find out where that converter was. But anyway, we got it done. The Battle Born's hooked up, and we're ready to go on our trip. Thanks for watching. Take care.